everyone, welcome on in. Thanks so much for joining today while we go over the Diablo IV Campfire Chat that happened on July 28th, which was earlier today. So they made a good amount of changes to Sorceress, and as a Sorcerer player myself, I'm really excited to talk about them, go through them, and hear your guys' opinions and what you think, and I am excited about the changes. I'm quite happy with what they've done. I do think that it's going to be enough. I would love to hear your guys' opinions and everything, but let's take a look at what they did, and then we're going to hop into our game. So, basically, for Sorcerer, right, looking into reducing kiss and curse mechanics as well as increasing survivability. Barbarian, focusing on improving early game. I have heard the opinion that maybe Barbarian hasn't had quite enough yet, but it seems like Sorcerer is actually going to be a good bit stronger, especially a fire mage, which I'm so excited about. So let's take a look. Hop on in. Skills. Flickering Firebolt. So I don't actually know what changed here. I felt like it generated 2 mana before. I guess... Is that 2 more mana? Yeah, the Hydra buff. I'm so excited. Fireball. So we recently got a unique Fireball staff ourselves, which is really interesting. So I'm really interested in this. Enhanced Fireball increases its radius by 50%. And the Destructive Fireball does critical strike damage increase by 20%, and this bonus is increased to 30 if Fireball hits 3 or more enemies. So I feel like the Fireball, Enhanced Fireball is already going to be good, like even if you're using the Fireball enchantment, right? Because then that would just mean your Fireball enchant that's going off when enemies die is an extra 50% boost, right? So I would assume that that's really good for the enchantment, and then I would assume that this is really good just if you're actually using Fireball, like, that sounds pretty nice. So what do we think about that? I'm excited. So we don't have to wait too long for these changes, but I will be counting down the days. Chain Lightning got a buff, which is great. Each time it bounces, next hit deals 5% increased damage, so it sounds like that ramps, I think? Or at least, yeah, it should. Chance to form crackling energy increased, which is nice, and every little bit matters. Veer's Mastery bonus increased. I'm really happy that both of the fire passives got a boost because they were not particularly exciting before, especially considering the fact that even when we were running like Firewall, we were still taking like the Shatter passive and everything because like Ice was great. So both of these are pretty interesting, right? The bonuses granted for 3 seconds when hitting a boss with a critical strike. And then also Combustion, the burning effects deal 20% increased damage, plus an additional 2% increased damage per unique source of burning you have applied to the enemy, which is great and also really nice, especially if you got like Hydra and a couple different things. So Fire Sorcerer late game is sounding more and more viable. We're gonna have to take a look. I'm loving my Blizzard build right now, but I am tempted. Another amazing thing, they fixed a bunch of Paragon things. They buffed so many Paragon nodes and glyphs, and it's amazing, especially because all this stuff is going to add up. So even like this 4% to 5% is actually really huge because, you know, that's actually going to be, you know, you multiply that by however many, I don't know, whatever percentage increase you've got, like, on your glyph that affects your nodes and everything. It's actually like a lot more than just like that 1%. That's more like a, what, like a 25% increase or something? What is the math? I don't know. But the point is, it's better. Smoldering Embers rare node. Yeah, like all of this stuff is huge, that they actually just increase these percentages. But this is what I'm the most excited about. Serpentine aspect changes to having 1 additional Hydra active, and Hydra's duration is increased. Increased. Ah! Yay! It doesn't... I wanted Hydra to work so bad at like the beginning of the game, and it was fun for a while. I held on to it for as long as I could, but it capped out around World Tier 3, you know? And then increased burning damage and all. This is awesome. It does not look like they're going to be changing anything to do with the Devouring Blaze, which is alright. It's still good, but... This is nice. The Flamewalkers aspect I've taken a little bit and never really felt like that useful, so they're at least increasing the amount of time. The 3 curses thing is interesting. So this changes it to increase the critical strike damage of Meteor and Fireball, by 20 to 40%, double this bonus against healthy enemies. And then I think, what was it? The actual meteor and fireball themselves, was it other aspects? I don't know, let's keep going. Like, a lot of these things go together and kind of stack, so it's really exciting. Right? Increased? Is that even legal, right? Like, what? We're gonna feel a lot stronger. So, yeah, the recharging aspect, I think that it increased, like, all of this just a little bit, increases those numbers for the movement speed, and the mana, which is really nice. Frozen Orbit, I think that's the one that affects Frozen Orb, correct? I think it is. And then a new legendary, Mage Lord's Aspect. Veer's Mastery Key passive's damage reduction is increased by 20 to 30% for each close enemy, up to 60 to 90%. That's interesting. I like that possibility. Storm Swell. I'm so happy the Storm Swell got an increase. I'd seen on some of the guides I'm looking at for right now, even for my Blizzard build, some of them like recommend Storm Swell, but it just felt so underwhelming without at least like a max roll of it. It did not really feel that worth it to me versus other things. Now that actually might be more worth it to take versus some other aspects that I have. So I like that. Snow Veiled increase, that's awesome. 10% bonus armor. Some extra armor, thank you. And then Incendiary, damage from your Pyromancy skills has a 12 to 7% chance to restore 10 mana. So I'm pretty sure the chance is still the same, but I think that mana went up a good bit. Or at least it's just at the max that it was before. I don't remember. While within your own blizzard and for 2 seconds after leaving it. Okay, they added the 2 seconds after leaving it. That also makes it feel more worth it. I was not fully sold on that aspect myself. And that, I think, will sell me. So I like that. Concentration from 20 to 30% to 40 to 50%. We love that. Duration requirement from 3 to 2. Nice. Okay, and so here's my question. Here's the main thing that I was confused about. The gloves of the Illuminator. The Illuminator unique before, was that the staff? Was that the Fireball staff? Did they change it to gloves, or were there also Fireball gloves? I'm assuming there were also Fireball gloves, right? This was something different, correct? Damage penalty reduced from 65 to 55 to 45 to 35. These were gloves. So what was the Fireball staff called? That one's different. This one makes Fireball bounce. Oh, okay. So you could use that with the staff. That's interesting. Damage to stunned affix replaced with lucky hit. Change to restore resource. Reduce the distance offset per bounce range from 3 to 2.5. Should make it easier to hit close enemies with Fireball. Love to hear that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what we've got so far for Sorcerer. I know that there were some people hoping for just like a little bit more here and there. But like, they didn't touch the cooldown reduction. I wish that they maybe would have brought back the cooldown reduction that they had originally reduced, but that's okay. At least they did all of this. I haven't really been feeling the cooldown reduction like too much, but I do feel as though it is more important than ever, so there's that. So the Barbarian changes I've heard are just, they're good for like what, the early game, but they're just kind of, what do we think? Underwhelming? Okay? Do we have to wait and see? I feel like some of these things are going to be a little bit wait and see. You know? So, we've got Rogue. I think they only buffed things, which is great. Druid, I think, also got some really good early game changes. That's the main thing that I've heard about Druid, is it just feels a little bit rough really early game, and then it gets like super strong. So this might make it a little bit more tempting to maybe even try like a Druid build late this season, or maybe even just next. I don't know, kind of depends. Necromancer, I haven't looked at these too much, but it looks like minions have a little bit more survivability, right? Like they're not all just going to immediately be wiped out. Yes, minion changes. This was it. Mobs will deal decreased damage to druid companions as well as necromancer minions. So that's really nice. Caged Heart of Spellbreaking being updated. Okay. General unique items. Stats affect replaced with max life. That's nice. And barrier based on maximum life. Okay. This is what I'm really, really excited about. I'm so hyped. Do we get increased monster density? Like, look at that is a big, big difference. Like, if you just look at that, like the number of enemies there. So I hope that feels really good. It definitely should. They will be increasing the difficulty of World Tier 3 and 4 bosses, but will guarantee you a legendary. Treasure Goblins currently have a 50% chance to drop legendaries, but this is changing to 100%. I love that. Like, I do think that the difficulty needed to be increased for World Tier 3 and 4. Not too much for Tier 3. I feel like more so for Tier 4. But even Tier 3 the other day, I was in a group where we wiped him out, like, really fast. I was like, oh. Respec costs will be reduced by 40%? Okay, that's good. That's good for, like, respecking builds. Now, can they also reduce the cost of re-rolling, right? No. Elixir stack, additional stash tab. An additional stash tab. Amazing. Leave dungeon is going back to 3-second cooldown. It was very random that changed, but I appreciate that it's going back. And cold enchanted, resource drain, backstabber being removed from dungeons. Do we know why those are being removed? I didn't catch that in the chat. The amount of experience from Whisper completion Hellcache opening will be increased. So that's awesome. Yeah, making changes to crowd control, imperfectly balanced. The idea is to make resistances impactful and meaningful. When you stack it, you're going to see reduced damage from a certain spell type, but they don't want bosses to deal no damage to you because you stack resistances, which makes sense. You guys. The VRAM issues are going to be fixed. As someone whose stream has frozen at least like 10 times minimum over the past several weeks and stuff, playing the game. Well, yes, thank you. So I'm honestly the most excited about that. So hopefully no more freezing stream. Overpower naturally happens. Never change the baseline value. Okay. Zooming in and out. This is something that we were talking about the other day. I wanted to zoom out just like a little bit, especially on my monitor. I got the 2K monitor and stuff. I feel like I needed to just be zoomed out just like a little bit. So that would be really nice if they end up implementing that. And yeah, I'm really happy so far. So what are our general thoughts? Aside from minions on Druid and Necromancer, trying to make them feel better, right, and live longer, which is really, really nice. I think that they did need a little bit of a buff just from what I've seen and what I've heard. When I played Necromancer a little bit before myself, the minions were very squishy, and it definitely seemed very, very worth it to sacrifice them. So hopefully it will be, like, less worth it. Well, like, not less worth it, but I just hope that it will make you at least have more options, right? So you can go kind of either way. You pay for it, but more stash. I mean, hey, I'll take it. Cold Enchanted Affix is considered an auto-salvage for most. Okay. That's fair. Resistances are broken. Yeah, long-term fix. Listen to players. Realize those ones for sure need to be fixed ASAP. Okay, so that's really nice. So those are like the most out of balance, essentially, is the answer to that. Okay. Well, interesting. After they nerf Cold Enchanted, been running them fine. Resource burn being taken away is big. Okay. Like Thunderdome, Affix, and Drifting Shade, right? The dang Drifting Shade. Oh, and the Thunder one. Especially the Thunder, if you're in, like, a group, is tough. But, you know, one step at a time, I suppose. But I think this is going to help Sorcerer feel significantly better. There's only really one way to know, especially, you know, by playing. But I'm really optimistic for this. I appreciate that they listen to a lot of feedback given, and I know that it's never easy balancing everything. So I'm really excited. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk more about it as we go.